Let's see if we can find it. Well, no, we've got the back end of it.
That is a wreck and a half.
He looks rather confused there, doesn't he?
Halo pecinta MotoGP, sebelum lihat tayangan ini jangan lupa like, comment, and subscribe.
All round for Rossi and for Yamaha. Just the one win in Assen for Valentino Rossi, and of course his season bad.
It was only really Mugello when he picked up that first win where things started moving along. Now, if he is able to, which I'm sure he will be able to, maintain this pace and this mental approach more than anything else into 2018, then there's nothing to suggest that he can't do the same thing again.
The one rise in the world. I think there's always just been this slight niggling doubt with Andrea or Valentino Rossi. This year, I think he's properly convinced himself that he can go out there, he can fight with these guys. 2017 year. I've got to say, Steve, when he reflects, when he goes home after Valencia and sits on the couch and watches the year back, he can take great pride in his achievements this year. Never have we seen Andrea Dovizioso put up a fight for
points and championship position, 9th overall this year. He'll want that to turn around after what looked like a promising start.
got to a factory Honda rider. Steve, Rossi's crash. You know what, I thought I heard in the back of my headset a bit of crashing and banging, and unfortunately it was the doctor on the floor, Valentino Rossi, then, who was running in 8th place in this session. His airbag's gone off. That looks like it's at turn number 10 as well. You don't have a slow crash at turn 10.
Oh dear. Oh goodness, he has absolutely destroyed one of the Yamahas there.
They said that in the garage there were 3 Yamahas Valentino Rossi. I can pretty much categorically say there are now 2. That one is going straight to the skip. That is absolutely trashed.
Valentino's having a good look around there to see what is actually...
They might need to red flag this to get something to take that out of the gravel. I don't know how the marshals are going to be able to move it.
That is incredible. It's a rare sight just to see Valentino going down during testing, to be honest, but he has done a proper job on that.
I don't know if that's the 16 or 17 frame, but what I do know is you're not going to do another lap on that one. I don't know how, I'm not quite sure how they're actually going to make that bike move.
Depends on whether, I suppose, the swing arm is still in one piece. Let's see if we can find it. Well, no, we've got the back end of it.
That is a wreck and a half.
He looks rather confused there, doesn't he, Valentino?
I would imagine, Steve, your typical turn 10 crash is usually temperature on the right-hand side of the front tyre, just pushing before you've got optimum working temperature. The good news for Yamaha is it's such a vitally important test is that Valentino Rossi seems relatively unscathed. They might be able to move it. You can see the rear seat unit is completely detached.
Yeah, they'll be able to move it.
The
swing arm and the chassis seems to be just about in one piece, but it's a wreck.
124 days without a MotoGP race, Steve.
Well,
to start with, you've got 2 days of testing here. So
yeah, 2 days of testing, and also we'll have some tests, won't we, going into January and February?
Exactly. Really, it's not that much of a break, so 124 days is going to fly by pretty quick.
I think, like most people, I tend to quite enjoy the initial 4 or 5 weeks off going into the winter, and then it gets a good way into December, and I'm sort of itching to get back. But I'm sure we'll cope.
Yeah, exactly. Everyone will be fine. Everyone will be fine.
And he can beat them.
But can you remember there was a press conference, I think, last year in Aragon where he actually basically admitted to the media that these guys are all better than me. I mean, he actually said those words.
And I remember, it was late on in the season that he's perhaps not just quite at the level of Marques or Danny Pedrosa or the thing that Andrea Dovizioso now knows, Steve. He now knows that he is one of the best MotoGP, compromised by that double break in his right leg when he suffered an enduro cross training accident just in the Built to Mazzano race. To be fair to Rossi, he did say that regardless of the injury, he wouldn't have been able to fight for the World Championship. Our runner-up, he certainly went down fighting, didn't he, Andrea Dovizioso on Sunday. Ducati, they are not allowed any concessions whatsoever, so the engines that they start the year on in Qatar, it's the exact same spec engine that you'll see them race in Valencia. They can't touch the engine at any stage through the year, but Suzuki, Aprilia and KTM all back with concessions next year.
Yeah, it was a win-win really for Davide Bruvio, wasn't it? I think he would have rather had the podium for obvious reasons, but That's not a bad plan B, is it? To be able to have that at their disposal. As you look here at replay of Scott Redding, he's been out on circuit for his first go. I mentioned at the start that we would have Tech Talk questions coming in at 11 o'clock, but because we had a delay in the proceedings of everyone getting out because it was cold, it was dirty out on circuit, we're going to now just push that to about 12 o'clock, so it's just over an hour's time. So if you have any questions, I'll repeat, about the test itself or any technical questions for Dylan down in pit lane, get involved on Twitter. Hashtag Tech Talk is what you have to include. And then around about midday here, local time, as I say, just over an hour away, we'll get Matt Dunn into the commentary box. MotoGP's, well, one of a few MotoGP social media gurus in, and we'll get those questions out. And that gives Matt Burt here a break to go and get a cup of tea as well. Here is Ramon Orin, of course, Taka Nakagami's crew chief last season, or I keep on saying last season, the season that was finished 2 days ago, to Jack Miller. A great person to have by the side of Takaki Nakagami as he tries to develop.
Yeah, a good ally to have in your camp, Ramon Orin. So much experience, there's nothing that he does not know about that Honda RC213V. A big database of knowledge in his clipboard and a big database of knowledge between his ears as well for Ramon Orin, so it's a good pick. Of course, he is a direct HRC employee, and that, of course, with HRC not renewing Jack Miller's 3-year contract, it meant that Ramon Orin also was available, so taken out of the Mark VDS setup with no factory Honda support for the Belgian-based team next year. It was always a long-term rumour that Orin would be paired with this man, Taka Nakagami.
It seems ever since the confirmation has been sort of, we knew that Nakagami was linked to going to LCR, but it seems as though since that he really has just sort of wound down the gas. If you look at his results on paper at the end of the season, Matt, it doesn't perhaps tell the entire story. He was, of course, pole in Motegi and was leading the wet race for a while before just running out of grip, and he looked like he was on for a solid podium in Australia as well, until that crash. So we'll cut him a bit of slack, but his results